Good afternoon. Phil Lindemann with your Krystal 93 News from Mountain Comfort Furnishings and Design. Weekend traffic on I-70 fell to a 5.5-month low this weekend, fewer than 100,000 cars in 3 days. That is 2,500 fewer than last week, 47,000 fewer than a month ago. Looking back on October, this month was 3% busier than last October. We gained about 13,000 cars over 12 days. If history holds, November will be the quietest month on I-70. Last year, it was the slowest month of the year. A crash near exit 203 in Frisco shut down westbound I-70 for about 45 minutes late this morning. No serious injuries reported. Summit County Sheriff wants another $3.5 million next year, mostly for new staff and salaries. A group of county watchdogs says that is way too much. The county's Citizen Advisory Committee says local deputies are already some of the best paid in the state. Those millions, they believe, could be better spent on other departments like road and bridge and housing. County commissioners will hear from the advisory committee tomorrow. Welcome back to Rock Knowledge with Geo Joe Newhart, resident geologist at Friends of the Dillon Ranger District. Today, Geo Joe is talking about hot springs and harnessing heat for energy.
There's still a lot of heat in the crust around here because we have a lot of hot springs in Colorado.
Summit is simply too high for most hot springs that bubble up to the surface.
Pump water down into these hot rocks and then bring that water back to the surface to turn a turbine to generate electricity.
But you drop a little lower to Eagle County and you're closer to the source.
Because you utilize the heat in the crust to generate electricity and the heat building and stuff like that, and I think that's very viable.
It is the exact same concept as fracking for oil.
Take some of the knowledge that's been gained from the oil and gas industry.
But GeoJoe is confident we can do it better for turbines.
You have to have enough knowledge of what's going on in the subsurface that you don't fracture the rocks into a freshwater aquifer, disrupt your freshwater systems. And I think that's very easily to achieve.
He points to recent geothermal surveys by the state. Just this summer, Governor Jared Polis was in Vail, awarding a state grant to investigate geothermal energy there. First up in Vail, using that heat beneath our feet to power the Lion's Head snowmelt system. Come back next week for more Rock Knowledge with Geo Joe Newhart. Local fire danger remains very high today with Stage 1 fire restrictions still in place for Summit. Here's Summit Sheriff Jamie Fitzsimons.
Make no mistake, it may have snowed the other day, but as Jeff Barino used to say, until there's a foot of sustained snow on the ground, we are not out of fire season.
Jeff Barino, he's the old fire chief at Summit Fire. In sports, the Nuggets play the Raptors today at 5:30. The Avalanche face the Blackhawks at 7. And in local sports, Summit's cross-country superstars Ella Hagan and Josh Shriver left no doubt on the trail at 4A Regionals Friday. They are two of the fastest runners in the state. Looking at more than 1,000 finishers at 20 regional races, Ella beat all but 2 of them. Josh, he beat all but 1. They'll be running again for the state titles at the cross-country championships down in Colorado Springs this coming weekend. Phil Lindemann, Krystal 93 News.